All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, when we look back at the 2018-2019 NBA season, at least for however much longer this society lasts, in my view, it will always be remembered as the season of Kawhi. From the preseason, when he let loose that memorable laugh where he sounded like a donkey choking on a chicken bone, all the way throughout the season when he implemented a tactic that no one had ever done before, known as load management, into the postseason where he had the most dominant playoff run of any player not named LeBron, Kobe, Michael, or Hakeem, till finally winning the NBA championship, and then topping it all off with a series of some of the most intricate and diabolical machinations that I can ever remember a free agent utilizing to get what he wanted, not only in going to the team of his choice, but also getting the teammate of his choice or relative choice, and on top of that, hamstringing his main competition, which also happens to play in the same city as him. Now, Skip Bayless is going to rather accurately analogize Kawhi Leonard as Keyser Söze, the very memorable arch-villain of the film Usual Suspects, who masqueraded as someone who was inept and incompetent and ended up being a mastermind. I would liken Kawhi Leonard to a character from a film in the mid-90s known as Primal Fear, which was basically the acting debut of Ed Norton, in which he played a character named Aaron Stampler. Aaron Stampler was a former altar boy in Chicago who had killed an archbishop by the name of Archbishop Rushman. He was detained in his jail cell, and he was able to acquire a lawyer who acted on his behalf pro bono, played by Richard Gere. Richard Gere was a lawyer by the name of Martin Vale. So anyway, Martin Vale interviews Aaron Stampler, and he finds that Aaron Stampler seems to be extremely demure. He stutters a lot, and he's unaware of what actually happened that led to the stabbing death of Archbishop Rushman. Over the course of the film, to make a long story short, Martin Vale, of course played by Richard Gere, is able to ascertain that it seems as though Archbishop Rushman was involved in a pedophile ring of all the altar boys, and also that it appears as if Aaron Stampler is suffering from multiple personality disorder. Well, at the end of the film, Aaron has an alter ego that's extremely violent by the name of Roy, and they're not quite sure if Roy is the person who stabbed Archbishop Rushman to death. And I would analogize Archbishop Rushman as Greg Popovich. Martin Vale is Masai Ujiri, who acted as an advocate of Kawhi's for a year until he came to find out who Kawhi, aka Aaron Stampler, really is. Because at the end of the film, as Martin Vale is trying to coax this violent alter ego out of Aaron Stampler while he's on the witness stand, and they're able to win the case, in the aftermath of winning the case, it's revealed to the audience that there never was a Roy. Aaron Stampler concocted this mechanism of trying to convince not only the judge but also his own lawyer that he has a violent alter ego just so that he can get off. And that's exactly what Kawhi Leonard has done very adroitly, very astutely. He's convinced everyone that he's some type of idiot because he does not like to speak a lot. And as usual, extroverts always like to claim that introverts are dumb because they don't speak, when in all reality, for the most part, introverts tend to be far more intelligent than extroverts, and they keep all of their thought processes inside because they know that all an extrovert is going to do is take what they're thinking and try to bastardize it, use it against them, or water it down to something more understandable for themselves. So that's why everyone is trying to act so shocked at some of the tactics that Kawhi Leonard has used. But when I saw this whole thing play out, I said to myself, damn, Kawhi is Aaron Stampler. For you brothers who've never seen the film Primal Fear, check it out. It's a very intricate film. It's based off of the concept of dissociative identity disorder, aka multiple personality disorder. And the character played by Ed Norton does a great job of tricking everyone around him into believing that he suffers from that issue so that they can think that he's a sympathetic figure when he's really not. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in. And of course, anyone who followed the saga over the previous week to Kawhi signing with the Clippers knows that Shannon Sharpe was at his obnoxious best or worst, depending on your perspective, in believing that the Lakers were definitely going to sign Kawhi.
That Kawhi pulled, the fans was over.
He did.
You pulled, he got him.
He got you.
Might be a tough day for Shannon today. Let's get right to it, as painful as it is for my compadre. After days of anxious waiting, we now know Kawhi Leonard will be a Clipper. He's signing a 4-year max contract with the other LA team, choosing the Clippers over the Lakers or a return to Toronto. But that's not all. The Claw will go to battle next season with Paul George by his side. The Clippers surrendered a ton of assets to OKC to close this deal.
And when you get an understanding of what Kawhi was trying to do, he was trying to pull off a mega trade for many other players and trying to get superstars like Kevin Durant to come to the Clippers as well. Like, it was very clear that Kawhi, you know, in the words of Alonzo Harris, when Ethan Hawke's character asked him if he's been planning this all day, Alonzo Harris, played by Denzel Washington, says, "I've been planning this all week, son." Kawhi's been thinking about this stuff for the entire season. There's no doubt about that. He didn't just wait until free agency to decide to start calling all these guys up. He said, not only am I going to play the game, but I'm going to outplay everyone else. I remember him at the All-Star game, and all these players were schmoozing, Kyrie and KD and LeBron, and they all were exchanging numbers, and what are you going to do in the offseason, and blah, blah, blah. And Kawhi had, he had that numb look on his face. And come to find out, he was outthinking everyone there. But it's not a surprise.
5 first-round picks. Shannon, to rub a little salt in the wound, I'm sorry, but you did predict there was a 96.5% chance Kawhi was going to the Lakers.
Okay, Jenna Hill, I get it. I was wrong. Way to rub it in. There's a 97.5% chance that your ass won't be back next week. Get over it.
So, take me back to Friday. How disappointed were you when you heard the news?
I was extremely disappointed. Once again, I was in our Olympic-side jacuzzi. This time it was me, Bron, Savannah. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask us what we was doing. None of your damn business. And my phone went off again. It said, Kawhi Leonard signed for L.A. I started singing. And then LeBron grabbed the phone and he said, "No, baby. It's not the Lakers, it's the Clippers." I said, "What? How a nigga that hadn't cut his hair in 15 years signed with the Clippers?" Makes no sense whatsoever, Skip Bayless. Me and LeBron cried until 5 in the morning.
Of course I'm disappointed. Skip, I said it from the very beginning. If the Lakers can open up a max slot, the only guy that's worth giving that max slot money to is Kawhi Leonard. And it seemed from all indication, from what we were hearing, basically it was a 2-team race. It was Toronto Raptors and the LA Lakers. And I thought the Lakers had the inside track.
I think in the aftermath of this entire situation that it was a 1-team race the whole time. And Kawhi was playing these teams against one another. One thing that was revealed over the course of these proceedings is that Kawhi Leonard is someone who wants to be pursued. And I think that the Clippers did a great job of understanding his psychology because they showed him that they were willing to pursue him for the entire course of the season. They had spies following him all across the NBA regular season landscape. And they showed that they were committed to making the LA Clippers franchise as Kawhi-centric as possible. They keep everything in-house. The players are there to really amplify what Kawhi does, which is get down and dirty on both offense and defense. And aside from a lack of depth on the front line, the Clippers look like they're going to have the best team in the NBA.
LeBron James, him being in LA, it just seemed from all indications. And the only reason I said the Clippers were excluded, Skip, I could not see a scenario where they got a player to pair with it.
Yeah, that was shocking as well. But as I've already done a video giving Jason Whitlock the credit, he was the only person who figured this out. He stated before the whole thing went down that Kawhi Leonard really wants to go to the Clippers, and he's giving the Clippers a chance to pull off a mega trade.
Like, Dame Lillard is not leaving Portland. Giannis is not leaving Milwaukee. I'm going all over. I'm like, okay, big guy. Okay, who could he get that want to go to the Clippers? Paul George never registered on my radar for the simple fact he had just signed a 4-year deal last year.
And besides that, he's been trying to act as if he was so happy playing with Russell Westbrook. Obviously, that was not the case.
I'm like, well, he's out of options. He wants to go with someone.
I agree.
The only place he can go, if he's not going back to Toronto, he's going to the Lakers. And lo and behold, they're working behind the scenes, and they pulled this off.
The Wizard, Jerry West.
Come to find what we know now, Skip, he had his mind made that he wanted to go to the Clippers only if they could get a second star. And he kept delaying. When everybody said, oh, he's going to make an announcement on Wednesday. It's going to be Thursday. It's going to be early Friday.
Skip, I couldn't believe it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm losing sleep, waiting on this nigga to sign. Come to find out he's going to the damn Clippers.
He was doing was allowing Jerry West to work behind the scenes to get this deal done. And they were able to pull it off. And I was out Friday, and another earthquake happened, Skip.
Skip, between you and me, I'm the reason for that earthquake. It was me in the Olympic-sized jacuzzi before LeBron and Savannah got home with about 30 Cambodian models. I'll leave it at that.
I think it was.
This was an even bigger one.
It was an even bigger one than the Thursday one.
Yep.
But the bigger shock was, the bigger quake was to come about 35 minutes later when breaking news, everything was stopped. Kawhi Leonard goes to signs with the Clippers. And then a minute later, Paul George is traded to the Clippers. I'm like,
yeah, that was shocking. And I was up at that time. I was like, what?
Where did this come from? And then when you find out,
Skip, I was so upset. I mean, I got up out the jacuzzi. Like I said, Bron and Savannah was still there. They started crying. I went outside, just started throwing rocks. I was hoping I could hit your window.
Skip, what they had to give up to get Paul George, the Clippers, they gave up more to get Paul George than the Lakers gave up to get Anthony Davis.
Depending on how.
No, not quite. I mean, everybody's talking about how much the Clippers gave up. They gave up a lot on paper. They gave up, 4 first-round draft picks. But what they're anticipating is that they're not going to need any draft picks. There's not much that a draft pick is going to be able to do to help them. Their team is already ready-made. They're built to win right now. Both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are signed guaranteed for the next 2 seasons. They have a 3rd season as an option. So they're not worried about some first-round draft picks. They expect to win 55-plus games every season. So they're going to be drafting in the low 20s at the very best. They're not concerned about no damn draft picks. And losing Danilo Gallinari in exchange for Paul George, I mean, come on. That's a massive upgrade.
Picks turn out.
Yeah.
But I got you.
You give up what? 4 unprotected, 1 protected, and 2 flips.
Swaps,
and Gallinari and
Shea
Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
So,
once again, the Clippers are a team who've never won anything. They have to go all in. Right now, they've acquired 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA.
That's about 6-7 players. So I was surprised. I was very disappointed that they weren't able to pull this off. But I understand it. There was a lot of things that started working against the Lakers.
Yep.
I don't know what Magic hoped to accomplish.
Yo, Magic Johnson, man. That dude is that one friend. You can't tell him anything. Oh, my God. Yo, you cannot tell Magic anything. This nigga Magic Johnson will go into a beauty salon and I'll talk all the women there.
By saying that I talked to Kawhi and he reached out to me, I don't understand. That was the first right there. Kawhi said, see, I can't trust you guys.
That is correct. Magic helped do in the team he so dearly loves.
He's like, I can't trust you guys.
Yep.
I give you one specific task. And same thing with Toronto.
Kawhi probably met with Magic and told him some dumb shit to see if it'd come back to him. Kawhi was like, yeah, so I have 7 toes on my left foot. Don't tell anybody. They left him. First thing Magic do is get on the phone. Hey, Jeannie, by the way, make sure that the training staff has an extra wide sneaker for Kawhi's left foot because this man has 7, 8 toes. Tell everybody in the organization, let them know. Bye. Click.
Hey, how the hell they knew I was coming back? How these helicopters get up here? How all these people lined up? And the one team that kept hush-hush, nothing got out, not one peep, Skip, was the Clippers. Skip, I was shocked that they were able to pull this off. They gave up a lot. And in this day and time, with social media, all these insiders, nobody had anything, Skip.
You know, you would be flabbergasted at that only if you're someone who's accustomed to rolling around with a big entourage or a large retinue. It's very obvious that Kawhi Leonard knows to keep his mouth shut. There are people that you might describe as your loved ones who you know that you can't tell certain things to. Because these media people, they have a way of getting information out of people. They can contact a particular athlete's sister, their brother, their good friend, and they're not just going to ask them questions. They're going to say, we're going to route you some money into your bank account if you let us know where your brother's signing. And they'll tell them. So Kawhi Leonard understands if I don't want anybody to find out what I'm doing, I can't tell anybody what I'm doing. You tell your mom, I would love to tell you, but I can't tell you right now. Love you. Talk to you later. You know? Sometimes it has to be like that. If you want to have certain information that's confidential, remain that way. So everybody's amazed. Remember, Kawhi does not have social media other than Twitter. And the last time he tweeted was like 7-8 years ago. I think he tweeted, her. Quote unquote, her. And that was it. So Kawhi knows how to keep shit under wraps.
How were they able? The president can't even do anything without it getting out. How were they able to keep this hush-hush for 24, 48, 72 hours?
Very simple. Most likely Kawhi and his uncle just spoke to Jerry. Or just spoke to Jerry and Lois Frank and Doc Rivers, and they let them know. We don't want anybody to know what's going on here. Because they understood that in order to get Kawhi, it was conditional that they'd be able to trade for another superstar. And if they let out that they were trying to trade for another superstar, the Lakers were going to do something to try to sabotage it, or one of these other teams was going to try to sabotage the potential trade. So they understood the importance of keeping everything under wraps as much as Kawhi did.
Unbeknownst to me. But I tell you what, Skip Bayless, the new sheriff. He doesn't say much. Has his hair cornrowed. He has a ginormous hammer. And he swung it. And when he struck the ground, the earth moved.
Kawhi learned a lot from CIA Chief Popovich, I tell you that. Kawhi's like Jason Bourne. He learned a lot from his time in the program.
Literally.
Operation Blackbriar.
Maybe that's why we had a second earthquake, or third earthquake.
But to make a long story short, Skip, I'm a little disappointed. But
Skip, I'm a little bit more than just disappointed. I'm sad, okay? This is not my original pair of glasses. Actually, at home, I have 10 pairs of the same type of glasses. This is the 9th pair, because the first 8 I broke on Friday night when I heard about that shit.
all isn't lost. So what happened? Okay, so we didn't get Terrence. We didn't pay Terrence Ross $15 million for 3 years. We didn't get J.J. Redick $13.5 for 2 years.
Yep.
We got pretty much everything else.
Yeah, Skip, like I told Brown when I came back in the house, and he was in the jacuzzi. I looked down on top of his bald ass head. I said, "Brighten up. Stop crying so much in the damn jacuzzi. You're making it salt water. Life goes on. Okay, we didn't get Kawhi. You're going to have to do something that you haven't done in a while. Actually beat another great player. Get over it."
We got JaVale back, got Rondo, we got Danny Green, signed Boogie Cousins to a very friendly deal. I'm not.
You better sign Boogie Cousins to a friendly deal. This dude is a terrible defensive player with a fractured mind, coming off of a ruptured Achilles tendon. He's emotionally unstable. His deal better be friendly.
Not getting Kawhi, but getting these other pieces lessened some of the blow. But don't think I wasn't in my rooms. So.
Crying. I was crying, Skip. I'm a strong enough man to admit it that I cried, okay? I thought about not coming to work today, but I said to myself, shit, I'm out of sick days. I got to confront that old wrinkly white man.
Sourpuss for a couple hours.
You were a sourpuss for a little while?
Couple hours.
I started to text you, but I
No, you didn't. Don't text me, Skip.
Skip, I saw your text. Your name came up as Methuselah. I said, oh boy, this old ass man want to bother me again about this shit.
You see, you want
So, I must admit, I left this show on Friday thinking, I give up. I give up. It's coming. Here it comes.
Yep.
We're going to have another big three this time in LA at Staples, and it's going to be the Lakers. It's going to be LeBron. It's going to be AD. And it's going to be Shannon's new man, number 2. And I'm going to have to hear about this for a whole long year. And you laughed at me all day long on Friday, and I took it because I thought you were right. Because
Shannon, I had to take it. I had to take all your shit. I said to myself, oh my God, number 2 is going to actually sign with LeBron James. I don't know whether to be the most excited I've ever been or to be the angriest. These are the 2 black athletes that I've hated the most in my 60-plus years on this earth. What am I going to do? I said, oh my God. And then Kawhi decided to sign with the Clippers. I said, oh, now I just have them in the same city. So what do I do now? I have to split my hate.
no, I just have to go by the media reports, and everybody was wrong. Everybody across the board. Nobody reported this.
No.
I did mention on Tuesday, I got to give my friend Brian Windhorst at ESPN this much. He did say,
Brian Windhorst, a.k.a. the LeBron Whisperer. I tell you, Brian Windhorst has been getting interviews from LeBron since he came out the womb. Brian Windhorst was there at the bedside. This is Brian Windhorst reporting LeBron James has just stuck his head out. Let me get his first words. I demand a trade.
he wants to be a Clipper, but then it seemed like it was impossible because after Jimmy Butler went to Miami, I thought that was the only other option that was viable, that was out there, but I didn't know he could pull this off. So, Friday night, I'm at my place with my wife and my little daughter, Hazel, our little Maltese, and the earth moves. Literally, it moved again, and it was such a
This dude gonna call his dog his daughter.
shake for my wife and her sister Joyce, who's from New York. They're both from New York, so they haven't been through this. So Joyce lives away from, not too far from us. So she comes over, and we're all saying, is it going to happen again? Is it going to happen again? And my household is literally upside down because all the pictures fell, and they think.
I couldn't believe it. I have 85 pictures, 43 of Tom Brady, 42 of Tim Duncan, and it just started to fall.
Going to get hit with another one.
Right.
So they can't go to sleep, and I'm trying to watch the Zion game, but then at halftime they say Zion banged knees with somebody, he's out and might be gone for the rest of the summer league, right?
Correct.
But I still have the game on, and I'm still trying to keep up with it. And then finally I'm wearing out, and it seems like they're calming down enough, and I think, okay, that's it, because I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you get up early, we all get up early, and so I hadn't had a nap, and so I'm starting to look at 24 hours up, and I said, it's almost 11 o'clock, it's over. We got to stop this, we got to calm down and go to sleep. And I think, you know what, I'll just check the computer one more time. Boom! We went from earthquake to bombshell.
That's pretty much what happened to me. I was looking on my computer, researching a couple of things, and all of a sudden I saw a newswire come up that Kawhi Leonard was signing with the Clippers, and then a minute later, Paul George is getting traded to the Clippers. I said, what?
I just sat back, and when I first saw the headline, I thought it was a Laker headline. I did. I saw LA, and I thought, oh, God, that's...
Not again. Not LeBron getting all this help again. Oh, my God. I got to see maybe if I can play. I can get closer to LeBron and Kawhi at the same time.
But then what? Paul George? What?
Yeah.
They got on red jerseys in their mock-ups? What?
I thought it was a joke at first.
I didn't know what it was, and then the last laugh I got, because I just sat back and I said, he just did to the Lakers exactly what he did to my Spurs. He is number 2 and always will be number 2 to me, because
He'll always be number 2. Because they remind me of number 2 in the bathroom. I can't stand him. Kawhi, he just broke my heart. Oh my God. So painful.
in the end, he burned you just the way he burned me. He duped the Lakers, I believe, into really believing they had a shot at signing him. And they hung on when all along, I think from the start, his heart was set on Clippers.
I agree.
So he took you, Lakers, and the media for one long ride. And it was a hell of a ride.
Well, he took you guys for a ride, but you were the ones driving the vehicle because he said absolutely nothing, so you can only blame yourself. All that speculation and talking in circles got you worked up over information that didn't exist.
All of us like a fiddle. And in the end, I had to step back and applaud how brilliantly devious this guy was. Because this is...
Was he really that devious, or did he just give you guys enough rope to hang yourselves? I think that Kawhi and his uncle understand the collective consciousness of the media enough to know that you guys are always trying to beat each other out for stories and breaking news and getting the scoop on things. So what they did is they would leak out little bits of information through Chris Carter, which of course created a great amount of jealousy amongst all the other reporters. So they either had to try to quantify or qualify information through alleged sources or through real sources. And all of those alleged sources and real sources knew nothing at all. It's very clear that Chris Broussard was either making something up or he was getting his misinformation from Rob Pelinka or one of those other dunces with the Lakers.
To me, what he did to my Spurs was devious. I'm going to say it one more time just for those who are newcomers to this. But he quit his way out of San Antonio because he exaggerated a thigh bruise into some sort of serious thigh injury. And
he was done playing for that cult. That's what he was.
73 games, and he was basically saying,
an American black superstar playing for the Spurs is like one of these black kids from the hood that gets adopted by a white family in the suburbs, and now he has to eat pot roast with carrots and stuff every night for dinner. It's like, what the hell is going on? Listening to all type of music that might not really resonate with him. It can be a cultural thing, and each team has a culture. And when you look at the Spurs, it's very clear that Popovich understands this, because very rarely does he seek out black American superstars. I think that even he knows that there's a resonance that comes off of that team that makes a lot of black American players very hesitant to want to sign there. That's why he tries to play this wokey woke shit and this liberal Caucasian, this little spiel that he does, where he tries to act like he's so much against Trump and so on and so forth. All that is intended to do is to make San Antonio more of a viable option or location for some of these superstar black players. That's the only reason why he does it. And it still doesn't work.
Just get me out of here. Get me to L.A. And when they wouldn't trade him to Lakers or Clippers, I don't know if they tried both. Who knows what happened? They weren't going to do that anyway.
Right.
They shipped his butt up to Toronto. But it was going to...
And that blew up in everybody's face, because all that did was build up a lot of the equity that Kawhi had. He didn't just restore his reputation, he actually amplified it.
Just 1 year, one stopover, because his heart was still set and his vision was focused on, I think, Clippers. So he bamboozled everybody, especially the Lakers. And I'm going to push back on one thing you said. And I'm going to give you this. The Lakers rallied nicely on Saturday. They did the best they could, although I thought
I won't even say they really rallied, because there were so many players who are marginal in talent and also on the cusp of being old, who were just waiting to be signed by them. Danny Green and Avery Bradley and these guys, I mean, come on. Nobody was pining for them.
Danny Green maybe a little too much money at $15 million a year.
Well, the thing was, the
Dallas
Mavericks
had it.
Yeah, the Mavericks had it, so you had
Okay,
it.
all right.
Because I thought 10 would have been perfect.
Okay, but in the big picture, when he finally stealth bombed you, you had to sit back and think, wait a second. What if we could have had enough intel, Lakers, which I don't trust the front office right now, but what if somebody could have read the tea leaves correctly? Because I'm reading the Toronto Star report.
Right, but look at their brain trust. Linda Rambis and Jenny Buss. I mean, come on.
Today, in which it says that the indications were early, all through the playoffs, that he, number two, and Uncle Dennis Robertson were focused on the Clippers. So again, this is probably coming from, I'm guessing, Masai Ujiri or somebody
Right.
within the Toronto front office.
Right.
Their read on this was he was focused on the Clippers from the start. So do the hypothetical. What if the Lakers had just said, there's no way he wants us. There's no way he wants to team up with LeBron.
Right, but why would the Lakers be thinking like that? That's not a part of their brand. Their brand is that everybody wants to come to the Lakers. Their brand is that we're the bigger brother, the Clippers are the little brother. So even if that thought were to enter their mind, their collective mind at any point, that will quickly be shut down by someone who was at the meeting table who wanted to continue to promote the notion that we're the big bad Lakers. Everybody wants to come here. So I don't even want to hear that Kawhi prefers the Clippers. Pride goes before destruction.
On an AD, what if you had been able to shoot big? What if you'd been able to go after any... Seriously, you think Kyrie would have thought about it? If you'd gone to Kyrie way before... This would have to be 2 weeks ago, right?
You said something very interesting, not to cut you off, but you said that when he complained, sought himself down out of the Spurs, he said, I want to go to the Lakers.
He just wanted to go home.
Was that a ploy? Said, no, we won't trade you to the Lakers. We'll trade you to the Clippers, knowing that was his destination all along.
No. At that time, Kawhi was willing to go to the Lakers because they did not have LeBron James yet. Remember, that was in the midst of the 2017-2018 season that Kawhi said he wanted to go to the Lakers. That was before LeBron got there. After LeBron got there, the Lakers were no longer his number one option. So no, he was not playing games with the Spurs when he said he wanted to go to the Lakers, saying maybe they'll send me to the Clippers. No. He was trying to get to the Lakers before LeBron got there.
A shrewd operator, number two.
That's what he tells me now.
Okay, all right. But my point is, did he sabotage the Lakers from the start by trying to string them along, right? Because do the hypothetical. What if you could have gone after Kyrie from the start? Now I'm going back a week before the official start of free agency, a week ago Sunday.
I don't believe Kyrie was coming.
Okay, but
yeah, Kyrie was not going to the Lakers.
You don't know. What if you go to him and you say, hey, would he not be, to me, the perfect fit with LeBron and AD?
Yeah.
He's the perfect fit. And again, if he had indeed made peace with LeBron, I'm just doing the big picture hypothetical.
Okay.
And then you look at all the big players. Would Clay have thought about it if you'd gone right to Clay?
No. Clay already made it clear that he was never going to leave the Golden State Warriors. He even did a post about it on his Instagram where he used the Leonardo DiCaprio speech from that stock market movie that he did. I'm trying to remember the name of that damn movie that Leonardo DiCaprio did back in like 2014, that stock market movie, where he gave that big rousing speech about how he's not going anywhere. Klay Thompson posted the link to that scene from that film. I believe it was The Wolf of Wall Street.
Before.
I don't think so. I don't think so. He wanted the max.
I got it. With Jimmy Butler, if you had just gone to him right away and said, we're out on Kawhi, we want you, would he have thought twice about it?
No, he would not have come to the Lakers. As a matter of fact, the reason why Jimmy Butler signed with the Miami Heat, in my view, was because he was looking for a location that was very similar to the Lakers, but would also afford him all of the amenities that he wanted. Number one, being the alpha. Jimmy Butler does not want to and did not want to play with LeBron James. That's why he went to Miami, because it was very clear that Jimmy Butler was not comfortable with the coach in Philadelphia, Brett Brown. Remember, he was getting into a back and forth with him in like his second week there. So Jimmy Butler wanted out of Philly. And had the Lakers had an opening for him, he would have signed there. But because LeBron was already there, he went to Miami so that he could, come up behind his idol, Dwayne Wade.
Instead of going to Miami? I don't know. So now you're down to J.J. Redick. You missed on him. Terrence Ross. I love Terrence Ross. Again, you missed on him, so it starts to fall down levels. And I give you this. They rallied nicely, but I still think number two's ploy from the start was to sabotage what was going to be his arch rival, the team that shares the building that he was going to be in.
Skip, I don't believe he intentionally did it, but what this tells me about Kawhi Leonard, that he's a lot smarter than we give him credit for. We take his silence as that he doesn't understand what's going on.
Yes, that's a normal tactic that extroverts use on introverts. That because somebody's not speaking, it's because they have nothing to say. Many times introverts don't speak because they know that what they say is going to be used against them because they're thinking on a three-dimensional level. And most extroverts just like to blabber on and on looking for attention and looking for validation from the outside. So there's always going to be a clash there between extroverts and introverts until the extrovert comes of a certain age and maturation to be able to tolerate those that are different from them, which is very difficult for most extrovert people.
He has the same vehicle for the longest time.
It comes off as kind of naive,
right,
shy.
Right.
No.
Yeah, Aaron Stampler.
No.
To pull something like this off, it takes a lot of thought, a lot of forethought, a lot of planning in order to do something like this. Because he's like, okay, what's the one guy that I can go to and I can talk to him? It's reported that he changed the location of the meeting with the Lakers so it would be closer for him and Paul George. And nobody saw that. Nobody got pictures. Nobody got a camera phone, a cell phone video of Kawhi and Paul George at some hotel or restaurant.
Quickly.
Probably because, and this is something that happens when you have a penchant for something or you have a reputation for something. We know that Kawhi Leonard has a reputation for being mysterious. So just the fact that he was opening up to a Paul George probably made Paul feel special. And it made him feel even more vested in maintaining the cryptic or the secretive aspect of whatever they were discussing. And that happens. Whenever someone is an introvert, when they decide that they're going to divulge certain information to someone, a lot of times that person says, oh, wow, so-and-so's talking to me. Let me find out what's going on. Let me respect their wishes. Because many times when people find out that you're introverted, but that you're also a deeper character than they thought, they gain a great amount of respect for you, because a lot of extroverts deep down wish that they could keep their damn mouth shut, and they can't. But just to make a long story short, it's very clear that Kawhi Leonard was able to command the respect of Paul George.
Ramona Shelburne reported this on ESPN, that all of a sudden, spur of the moment, he calls Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka and says, hey, I don't want to come to El Segundo, where your headquarters are. I'd rather change the meeting. Could you drive out and meet me in Westlake Village? Do you know how far that's is out?
90 minutes, at least.
It's at least. I used to drive from LAX out. I used to go to Thousand Oaks for the Cowboys, so I know this route.
Yes.
It's right by Westlake.
Yes.
Well, it's so far out there that not only does he make them drive out there to meet at a hotel because it's near to where Paul George has a house out by Calabasas. Okay, so he wanted to be in the vicinity where he could then run over to try to recruit Paul to talk him into making a stink with Oklahoma City. Let me out, or I'm gonna cause problems. I'm gonna do an Anthony Davis on you if you don't let me go.
If Paul George will get that kind of criticism,
I don't know. He should.
Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah.
Now, he had a contract 3 years just
Same
like
deal.
Remember, Skip, he got on stage last year. I'm here to stay.
Oh, did he? It was a big 4th of July bash.
Yeah, have a good old time.
Well, Shannon, you make a valid point about people not talking about what Paul George is doing. But I think that what's even more notable about Paul George being traded was that there was no muss and no fuss. So, sometimes it's almost like a guy who marries a wife and she's more trouble than she's worth. I think that Sam Presti looked at this as an opportunity to dump a lot of empty salary and start over. Because it doesn't take someone who's particularly sharp of mind or has great perspicacity to figure out or discern that this Paul George-Russell Westbrook pairing is not going to go anywhere. These guys are going out in the first round, and they're barely winning a game in the series. So it would behoove you, if you're Sam Presti, to blow it up if you can. And this was the opening that he needed. So it's probably why Sam Presti is not he's not bellyaching about this, because it gives him the ability to unload Paul George and also unload Russell Westbrook and hopefully start over. The only thing he has left to do is find someone to dump Chris Paul off on.
Russ do this big old coming back to OKC for Paul George.
Yep.
Man, nobody saw this, Skip.
Okay, so just think about what
Well, Jason Whitlock saw it. Got to give him credit.
What number 2 did to Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, and to the GM Rob Pelinka. They have to drive all the way out there and then get stuck. And I don't know the exact time frame, but if they had to come back in 5 o'clock traffic on the 405 back down to El Segundo, that's 2 hours. So they have to be steamed today.
Yes.
That they got bamboozled, right?
They got played.
And you want to talk? We talked about how LeBron pulled off a boss move by getting the AD out of New Orleans. This guy just outbossed the boss.
Absolutely. He definitely outbossed LeBron James because, come on. The fix was in when it came to Anthony Davis. He has the same agent as LeBron. Basically, LeBron is his agent because he's the one who's operating Clutch Sports behind the scenes alongside of Rich Paul. It's pretty much an open secret. I even had a video about it with Richard Jefferson stating, just that LeBron James and Clutch Sports are pretty much the same entity. So definitely Kawhi Leonard was able to execute a far greater stratagem than LeBron James was.
Yeah, he got the Lakers. He pulled a fast one.
He pulled a huge fast one. And then I kept saying last week, don't sleep on Jerry West, because I've been around him too long in my career. Everywhere he's been, he has made minor miracles or miracles. Because
what the hell is he saying in those meetings? How the hell did he get Shaq? How the hell did he convince Kevin Durant?
Probably a damn high-level Kabbalist. Who the hell knows?
Understand? Like, look what he did for the Lakers. He drafted James Worthy. He drafted Derek Fisher. He drafted Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
it's a trade on draft night, but he got him. And then, I don't know, he talked Shaq into coming to L.A., right?
Yes.
Okay, and he traded for Robert Horry, which put them over the top again.
Got KD to come to Golden State.
He sure did. And remember,
he also nixed that trade where they were about to get rid of Klay Thompson for Kevin Love.
He was instrumental in the drafting of Klay and Draymond. Instrumental.
And he pushing. And remember, they were thinking about trading Kevin Love for Klay.
Ding.
Said, hell no, don't do that.
Okay. And I'll remind you, he did have one stopover in Memphis where he was the executive of the year, and they made their first 3 playoff appearances under Jerry West.
Right.
Yeah, Jerry West is a genius when it comes to front office tactics and machinations. No doubt about it.
How do you do that?
He's gifted in that area.
It's genius at work. And when Steve Ballmer paid the price to get him out of Golden State to the Clippers, that's one of those magic moves.
It's the Lakers' fault. Because the Lakers should have gave him a lifetime title. They
couldn't give him a lifetime title because there were chemistry issues between himself and Phil Jackson. There were also chemistry issues between himself and the Buss family after a while.
Jerry, if he's the logo, he's good enough for the NBA to say when you watch the NBA games come on and the little logo that you see,
yep,
is if it's good enough for the NBA, you mean
Right, but we all know, or at least those of us who pay attention, we know why Jerry West was made the logo. He was made the logo because he was a superstar Caucasian player during a time period where it was very obvious that the NBA was incrementally becoming a quote-unquote black man's league. So they made Jerry West the logo for marketability purposes.
I mean, he's not good enough to have a lifetime employment with the Lakers after all that he's done. He should have never left that organization. He should have never left.
Chemistry issues, brother.
But Skip, for Kawhi to pull this off, boy, that Kawhi, hey, see, it's them quiet ones that get you every time.
It is.
Kawhi Storm. Kawhi Leonard.
You know, guy doing all the talking. Kawhi just sit back there.
So what did I tell you from the start about this guy? Cannot be trusted.
You can trust him, Skip.
Cannot be. You know you can't. You're done with that now. You got to be on the opposite side of the fence.
No.
Yeah, Skip. You know, I never liked what you had to say about Kawhi back in the day. Now I realize why you call him number 2. I realize that now. Because he's straight boo-boo.
Yeah, you know, look. He did the Lakers. He played them like donuts. He glazed them real good, too.
Yep.
But,
so I still question the principle.
Skip, I still can't believe this shit. I thought we were going to have the greatest triumvirate of all time. I said, wow. You had Julius Caesar, Crassus, and Pompeii. And now you got Kawhi, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. How can you beat that shit, Skip?
The character involved in quitting your way out of San Antonio and then duping the Lakers.
So what the hell about Paul George? Is Paul George going to escape criticism? Because he went to Sam Presti and said, I want out. And Sam Presti said, I do not want an Anthony Davis situation. I don't want a Melo. I don't want a Kyrie Irving situation. Let me make the best of a situation while I got to check. And then...
That's part of it. But once again, I also think that Sam Presti saw this as his opportunity to blow the team up. He saw this as his opportunity to unload Russ and not have the fan base turn against him for doing so.
I thought maybe Sam Presti would be the one guy who would dig in and say, I'm sorry, you got 3 years left and you're making really good money. And we got still the makings of a good enough team.
No, you don't. And he understood that. They don't have anywhere near the makings of a good enough team. A good enough team to do what? They can't even get out the first round, Skip Bayless. Stop.
And he didn't dig in part because the Clippers came to him, or he went to the Clippers, and the Clippers said, what do you want? Well, what do you want? You can have everything. You can have our whole future.
They had to do this.
Right, but what really did they give up? They gave up Gallinari and they gave up some first-round draft picks for the next 4 years or so. The Clippers are hoping that they can win at least 2 out of the next 3 titles. If they do that, they don't care if Kawhi and PG possibly leave and they have the next 10 years be a moribund. They've never won anything. So giving up some draft picks that they're probably going to end up picking 26, 27, 28, doesn't matter. It's negligible.
Because it's also being reported that he brought to Toronto. Well, I'll give you Paul George, because it basically, Kawhi, it seems to me, Skip, Kawhi was going where Paul George was going, unless it was OKC. Then OKC said, no, I want no parts of that.
Right.
But if you can get him in Toronto, I'll stay in Toronto. If you can get him to the Clippers, I'm going to the Clippers.
And Kawhi don't give a shit. He was ready to get rid of Siakam and all them dudes in Toronto. He's like, look, to Masai Ujiri, if you could trade for Paul George and Russell Westbrook, from what I understand, if you could trade for those guys, I'll stay. Unless that was just a trick to basically force Masai Ujiri to fold his hand and open up things for the Clippers. Who knows?
Well, Masai Ujiri wasn't willing to mortgage 3 unprotected first-round picks.
Plus, they wanted Siakam and Van Fleet. And it's just, he just said no, and he also thought he was being duped because he thought he was being leveraged against the Clippers.
I'm pretty sure that he was.
And he was right. But you know what I find funny also, Skip? And Paul George just had surgery on both shoulders.
He did.
He might not be able to go.
To start the
season. Are we just going to pretend like Kawhi just going to play like 80 games?
Doesn't matter. We're talking about a Clipper team that won 48 games last season without either Kawhi or Paul George. So that's not going to be an issue. Kawhi, I don't expect him to miss as many games this year as he missed last year. I'm sure that he's going to, put more onus on the regular season, at least until Paul George comes back. But I don't expect either one of them to play more than 65 games by the end of the season. and they have more than enough talent to win games, even with the both of them out.
Okay, now you're on the other side of the
No,
fence.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I just think, because here's the
I'm
thing.
with you.
Because Paul George, if Paul
Yep.
George doesn't start the season,
I got you.
I don't know if you can have him load management 5 games, 10 games into the season.
Okay. So, there's one last issue here, which I'm just going to touch on quickly because we're going to get to it in just a few minutes.
Your boy, huh?
Years. Because, guess what?
What happened?
Back-to-back years, 2 guys who could have played with LeBron James, Paul George, and then number 2, they said no to LeBron James.
Not just 2 guys. We're talking about Paul George. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard. We're talking about Kevin Durant. We're talking about Klay Thompson. We're talking about Kyrie Irving. We're talking about Jimmy Butler. All those guys turned down the opportunity to quote-unquote play with LeBron James. Why is that? Because they know that LeBron James plays only for one person, that being himself. That's why. And they do not want to have to bask in the light of LeBron James's magnificence. LeBron believes that he's Julius Caesar.
Then they teamed up to play against LeBron in his building. That's the ultimate disrespect of the quote-unquote GOAT.
Well, I love
The Kang.
did that. Because guess what? We don't have to go to 2 different locales to kick their ass.
Yeah. That's what I told Braun. I said, keep your head up. Stop acting like a bitch. Over here crying in the jacuzzi. We'll be fine. You got Anthony Davis. All you gotta do is get him some clippers for a damn eyebrow. We'd be good to go. Who cares about damn Kawhi? Kawhi don't even speak. I called up Kawhi's phone after he signed with the Clippers. I said, congratulations, nigga. The man responded back, her. I hung up the phone.
I'm glad they teamed up. But I'm going to say this.
Okay?
If I ask 30 general managers right now, I'll give you a choice. You can have Anthony Davis and you can have Paul George. Which one of those general managers you think taking Paul George over Anthony Davis? Because we got him. And I told you from day one, I would have loved to have Kawhi. And I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get Kawhi.
Yeah, Skip, I was very disappointed we didn't get Kawhi. Like I told you, I called his ass up. I said, congratulations, you lying nigga. You lied to me, you lied to LeBron. You lied to the whole Lake organization, and I wish you nothing but the worst. And the man had the nerve to laugh into the phone, her. Made me so upset, Skip.
But if I tell you you could have Anthony Davis, but look at all the free agents. Kawhi, Kawhi, KD, and Kyrie. They all free agents. And who else is available? KD, yeah, KD. How far is the list going down before?
Just for the record, Paul George made first-team All-NBA and first-team All-Defense and finished 3rd in MVP voting. Just for the record.
That's a very good record.
And I guarantee you, the 30 general managers would take Anthony Davis over Paul George.
They probably would. And
They probably would. Like Skip Bayless is about to say, they'd probably be wrong. Because Paul George has done much more winning than Anthony Davis has. He's done much more winning than Anthony Davis has. And neither one of them have won shit.
wrong.
And don't
They
worry
often are.
Because guess what, Skip Bayless? That's a great couple. They look great. They great together. 2-13. That's great. But you know what? At best case, it's a push. That's the best they can hope for. But
I'm not quite sure about that. We'll see.
still believe the King and the Bride are better of the two duos.
Look at that naive look, that childlike look on number 2's face. He looks like he wouldn't hurt a fly. Right?
Yeah, that's Aaron Stampler. Aaron Stampler posing as Roy. Really, there's no Roy. It's just all Aaron, the good and the so-called bad.
And he is as devious a manipulator as you will ever run into.
That's the kind of guy right there looking at it and burning your house down.
Yeah.
And then help you put the fire.
Correct.
Are you going to start referring to him as number
No,
2
he
as
can
well?
Hell yeah, I'm gonna call him number 2, aka Boo Boo.
See, you start calling him why, and I told you why.
But don't worry about it, Skip. We got something for him.
Okay.
Yeah, Skip, we got something for his ass. I can't wait till we play the Clippers. I'm gonna come to the game with my Timberland boots on so I can put him right up his ass. Promise you that, Skip.
This is the Christmas Day matchup.
All right, it should be.
Yeah, I got a present for him, Skip. December 25th, understand that. I'm not gonna be back to work for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be in jail or putting my foot in his ass on Christmas.
Should be. It will be. It's gotta be.
We got something for you, Kawhi. You gonna wish you never made this decision.
I promise you that, Skip. Shannon is heated.
Gonna be
Now we
fun
do.
to watch. Fireworks for sure. Earthquakes, bombshells, Kawhi, a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Clippers. So who is...
Oh, we'll see how things go next season. So peace.